Next, Colonel Bruce Bailey. He was in the U.S. Air Force and a judge. Wait a minute.
Judge advocate.
Judge advocate for 30 years on active and reserve duty. He has a long list of accomplishments, but one that he listed first, so that tells me that accomplishment means a lot to him. At least it was listed on the bio that I received. He's going to talk to you about it. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite Colonel Bruce Bailey, and he'll tell you more about the subject. Remember that number one thing that he talked about in his bio was being the president and CEO of the Soledad Memorial Association. And he got some good news about it if you folks don't already know. Please, come on up, Bruce.
Well, thank you very much. Since there's not a microphone here, I'll probably wander out here.
I can get you one.
Pardon me? Oh, I don't need one. No, thank you. Yes, I'm very blessed to have been 30 years Air Force. I was a JAG, a Judge Advocate General, and had some fabulous tours. Got off active duty. I lived in La Jolla, and back in about 1999, somebody said, "Gee, Bruce, you're a veteran. Would you like to come to one of our trustee lunches?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And so I went down, had lunch. I used the fork and knife correctly. They all appreciated that. I didn't spill my iced tea. So they invited me to become a trustee. And so that was about 1999. And I've been with them since that period of time. When I lived in La Jolla, I was a flag raiser for 8 years. My day was Wednesday. So every Wednesday, I would get up, and on my way down to my law firm downtown, I would put the flag up at 6:30 or 7, and then every day coming home, I would take the flag down. Now let me tell you, just doing that in and of itself is a great thrill. But what I learned from the flag raisers who are a little older than I, which is when you get there and you're going to take the flag down, you look around, and you find a family. And you find a family with some young children. And you go over to them and you say, "Would you like to help me take the flag down tonight?" And of course the parents get all excited. And the kids go, "Yes, yes, yes." So we go over, we take the flag down, we have them fold it, we did it, we teach them how to do it, and then we take a picture with them. And then I always brought little flag pins and gave them a pin so that they would have it. So, those days and Wednesdays just went like that, and I will never forget them. And since I have probably a little extra time, I will tell you that one time I was up there, and it was a family with a 6-year-old girl, and I went back to my car, and the mother came over, and she was absolutely sobbing and saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I said, "No, thank you for helping me take the flag down." She said, "You don't understand. My little girl has an illness, and she's not expected to live more than 6 months, and this means a great deal to me, me and my husband, because her husband was military." And I sobbed, and I went home, and I remember walking in the kitchen, and my wife looking at me with tears rolling down my face, and she said, "What's the matter with you?" And I told her how I'd been affected. But those are the kind of things that make Mount Soledad what it is and what we're going to become. And I will just tell you very briefly, Larry here, we hired 2 weeks ago to become our executive director. And this is just tremendous for our organization. And so since we've just finished March Madness, let me tell you what I've told the trustees for the last while. I've been president and CEO now for 5 years, but we're in a transition. And the way I tell it is Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. We're Division 3, we want to move up. And I understand our speaker is here, so let me just make this very quick. I want to tell you the good news. And the good news is, last year, the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, Section 2852, says that and this is law right now, says that the Secretary of Defense will, not maybe, not shall, will transfer Mount Soledad Memorial Association with the cross, as is, to the Mount Soledad Memorial Association. So we will become the owners of the memorial site, and as you all know, we've been fighting this lawsuit for 25 years, Paulson versus United States, and we will then become the owners as private property, and that will do away with the lawsuits. People ask me, are we going to have more lawsuits? All I can tell you is I've been working on this very, very diligently for about a year, and we are told that the ACLU nationally has said that if this goes through and the property is transferred, they will not contest it. Now you're wondering, why is that? Well, I can tell you, what's different about this transfer than all the other transfers is that Mount Soledad Memorial Association is going to buy the property. And so I'm in the midst right now of putting a campaign together to raise what monies we're going to need. The best I can tell you is it's probably going to be $1.3 million, $1.5 million, $1.7 million, somewhere in there. We don't know yet. But that's the good news. We are on our way, and the property, if I was to, Tom, if you asked me, when do you think it might happen? I probably would say within the next 2 months. The good news is, that the Secretary of Defense sent to Navy Region Southwest, which is here in San Diego, a letter dated March 31st, 2015, and it's entitled Delegation of Authority. And this letter gives Navy Region Southwest the ability to transfer the property. So we're out of Washington, D.C. We're now here in Navy Region Southwest, and we're getting close to coming home. 2 minutes and then I sit down, or you want me to just not say anymore?
I think your news is fantastic, and I think you earned 2 minutes.
Okay. Let me tell you the next thing. There's so much going on up there, and it's so good. And one of the things that we're trying to do, as I explained, Larry's been with us 2 weeks, and he's on board 100%, which is when we all go from San Diego to Washington, D.C., we all go, hey, I want to go to the Washington Museum, I want to go to Vietnam Memorial, I want to see Lincoln's Memorial. Well, what we want is when you are out in Washington, D.C. living, and you're coming to San Diego, we want you to say, I want to see the Midway, I want to see the zoo, and I want to see Mount Soledad. We want to become not just a regional memorial, we want to become a national memorial. And we have all the abilities to do it now that we've got our own property. But the other thing that just happened this last week, and I know this is kind of giving you a lot of stuff, we have never had electricity up there. By the end of this month, we will have electricity at Mount Soledad because the excavation was done 3 weeks ago. We've got all the plumbs and the lines and the conduits put in. This next week, they're going to pull the lines. We had SDG come up and give us their final permit authorization. We will have our transformer in place probably within a week or two, and then we'll have electricity. So if you can imagine, let you close your eyes and go, wow, what can we do? Now we can light the flag at night. We can leave the flag up. Now we can light the walls and the steps at night. So there'll be safety, security. We're going to put in an electronic information center. So if we want to go up and we want to find Carl's name, put in Carl, we go, oh, where's this plaque? Oh, it's on wall A. Boom, boom, boom. They'll give you all the, and also you want to make a donation at the same time, we're looking at your plaque. You can do that too. So there's lots of really, really, really good things going on up there. I did tell you about Larry. He's just getting on board. We've got great things to still tell him about what's going on up there. But the last thing I want to leave you with is to give you a personal invite to come up to see our ceremony, which is going to be up there May 25th. That's a Monday, all right? That's going to be our memorial ceremony. We usually get 700 to 800, 900 people up there. We only honor one person at each of the Memorial Day and Veterans Day. We give them a plaque. And in 30 seconds, let me tell you who the honoree is this time. It's Nate Kissoff, Marine, killed in action. But what makes this story so incredible is that Nate's dad, an orthopedic surgeon living in Truckee when Nate got killed, he decided that in order to honor his son, at 60 years of age, he attempted to get in the Navy Medical Corps. And as he tells the story, I went to the recruiter, told the recruiter I wanted to become a doctor in the Navy Medical Corps because my son had been killed. And the recruiter looked at him and said, "How old are you?" And he said, "I'm 60. And the recruiter said, "You know, the cutoff for direct assignments is 35 years of age." Okay? Fast forward. President Bush came out here when he was president, and as he did with all of the families, he met with them. And at the time after meeting with all the families, by the way, the doctor had moved to Rancho Santa Fe at this time. He came down here, he met with Dr. Krissoff, and on his way out, he looked at Dr. Krissoff and his wife, and he said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And Dr. Krissoff said, "Excuse me, President, yes, you know, there is something you can do for me. And that is, I attempted to get in the Navy Medical Corps, and I was rejected. And sir, with all due respect, I'm younger than you." And the president kind of went, "Oh, really?" So the president looked at Mrs. Krissoff and said, "And what do you think about all this?" And she said, "Whatever my husband says, I'm all for it." Fast forward the tapes. The same recruiter called Dr. Krissoff and said, "Dr. Krissoff, I don't know how this happened, but I have some news for you. You've been accepted into the Navy Corps and you will become a doctor." And Dr. Krissoff said, "Great, that's super." And the recruiter said, "I need to see you today." And the doctor said, "I'm sorry, I'm not in Rancho Santa Fe, I'm up in LA, let's meet next week." And the recruiter said, "No, sir, you don't understand. I have to see you today. That's my orders." The recruiter drove all the way up to LA, got the paperwork signed, and so Dr. Krissoff will be at our memorial. General's name, who I can't remember right now, will be the featured speaker telling about Nate and the family. So thank you for inviting me here. I really appreciate it, Nick, very, very much. Thank you again, and God bless.
This is the Silver Patrick Henry Medallion for Patriotic Achievement presented within the First Bailey. Citation. The MOWW General J.P. Holland chapter is proud to present you the Silver Patrick Henry Medallion for your superior performance and dedication as staff advocate of the U.S. Air Force for 30 years, and your continued defense of our veterans and their families as the president of the Mount Soledad Memorial Association. Your hard work and tenacity has secured the Mount Soledad Memorial for our veterans. The companions and friends of the General J.P. Holland chapter wish you the very best in life, and may God bless you. Signed, Nicholas Herb, good chapter. Thank you so much.